So, welcome everyone to another video. Today I thought I'd bring you a comparison between four Speedcubes that are placed in a completely different price point. Starting with the usual Little Magic V2, which costs $9.90, up to the RS3M 2020 edition, which costs $12.90. The X-Man Tornado V3 Pioneer Edition, which is $39.90, and the GAN 13M Maglev Edition, which costs $76.90. So this video should help you to decide how much money you should spend on your next Speedcube. I'm trying to generalize how much you should spend on your Speedcube, but of course it differs on which cube you choose. Not every good cube has to be expensive, but not every expensive cube has to be good. Keep that in mind as we go along with this video. So as our first point in comparison, I'd like to show you guys how these cubes differ in feel. Let's start with the cheapest cube, the usual Little Magic V2. You can definitely feel that this cube is the cheapest cube of the bunch, but it does not feel cheap. It just does not feel as high quality as the other three cubes. The turning is rather clacky and a little bit hollow feeling. And the corner cuts are much more snappy and need more force than on the other three cubes. But the corner cutting nevertheless is still over 45 degrees with line to line on reverse corner cutting, and even a bit more until it starts to cut the other way. In my personal experience, I've used this cube a lot myself, and I never felt that this cube was bad just because of its price or in general. I had no problems using this cube as my main Speedcube even, but I just got tired of the feeling, and due to a little bit higher weight compared to the newer Speedcubes, it just didn't make the cut as my main. Next up, the RS3M. This is the older edition, the 2020 edition, not the 2022 edition. So this cube still has the old Moyu adjustment system, but it is indeed a maglev cube, which makes it extremely fast, to the point where you really have to dump a lot of lube in this cube to make it usable, in my opinion. But if you do that, and if you put a lot of heavy weight in this cube, it gets really smooth. And compared to the usual Little Magic V2, this cube is way less likely to lock up. It has way easier corner cutting compared to the usual Little Magic. And also this cube cuts way over 45, and reverse corner cutting is pretty much line to line, as you would expect. This cube doesn't offer too many gimmicks, just a more adjustment system compared to the usual Magic V2, which only offers a screw spring system. This cube definitely has a level more of customization, which is always welcome, and I'd definitely recommend this cube over the usual Magic. So now we'll move on to one of the bigger boys. This cube costs almost 40 bucks, and it offers a lot more features than the previous two cubes. For example, the magnet adjustment system and spring tensions without the need of any tools. And this cube is indeed my main, so I'm a little biased. But still, this cube is widely regarded as one of the best Speedcubes right now on the market. It offers a lot of customization, And the feeling, in my opinion, is really really resembles the Valk 3, which is an amazing Speedcube I used to main for almost 3 years, but now it's just a little outdated. The corner cutting lacks, and this cube is a perfect replacement for this cube. And I hardly ever lock up on this cube because the corner cutting is really amazing. Seeing 45 degrees being cut without any effort at all is amazing. And reverse corner cutting line to line without any force at all. It just cuts everything, trust me. And over to our last cube, our most expensive cube, which almost costs $80. This cube, in my opinion, is definitely not worth the price. I used to be a big GaNCube fan. I own every single GaNCube since, I own every single high-end GaNCube since the Gainair SM. So I had high hopes for this cube, but it really disappointed me. The only cool feature I have to say about this cube is the maglev, which is really strong. So this cube just flies into alignment whenever it's not, but in your solves you can definitely not feel this strong alignment. The cube locks up on me quite often, although I'd call myself a pretty accurate turner. This cube still does not really suit my expectations and my needs. It's way too expensive for the normal cuber, and it locks up. The feeling is really cheap, it feels hollow, and I definitely not recommend that you spend $80 on your next Speedcube. So as a general advice, I'd recommend to you that you spend as much as you feel comfortable. Your budget does not have to limit you in your choice of Speedcubes. Cheap Speedcubes start at even $6 with the Meilong 3. And you can go up to almost $100 with the GAN 13. Just don't feel like you are a bad cuber just because you don't have the money to buy yourself the latest and most expensive Speedcube. If you're on a budget, get the RS3M. Even the 2020 edition is still an amazing Speedcube in 2023. Take it into consideration, and if you have more to spend the extra $30 on this cube, and it will suit you great for the next few years. I'd have to say, from the bunch, if you can afford it, get the Tornado V3, and if you can't, get the RS3M. You'll still get an amazing cube, which you can perform great in competitions. And if you still have little money left, get yourself Traxxas 50K. This loop has been my go-to loop for the last 4 years. It performs amazingly. Depending on how much you put in it, you can slow your cube down, make it smoother, and just make your cube last way longer. So, I hope this video was helpful. Probably more on the shorter side. But yeah, thanks for watching, and see you guys soon.